Welcome to Fandoms, a show from every fan's point of view, brought to you by the Nerd Initiative Network. Here's your hosts, Tony and Michael.
And welcome. We are starting a new episode. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm good. That's such a dope opening. It's insane.
I absolutely love it. It's kind of, it was really cool when we first started. We did the first opening. It was all about, the team and just showing how many content creators there are. Now, when we're able to do that, we can show all of the different projects. I mean, there's, Turn a Page, the Hall of Armor, Pooja's Picks, Did You Know, Fandoms, the Comic Press podcast. Like it's kind of like a little Easter egg thing. And my kid was super excited because there's even a picture of him in it. And he's like, that's awesome. Me. So yeah. So much fun. And if you guys don't know, when you go back to the recording, take and slow it down. There are 4 quotes, and they're my favorite quotes. You'll catch them. There is Did You Know, of course. There's Welcome to Paperweight Entertainment's Hall of Armor. There's This is most of the popcorn, having the discussion so you don't have to. And then the last but not least, my very favorite, one more thing and I'll shut up.
Yeah.
And so much fun. Absolutely. Had to get that in there.
You got to trademark that.
Exactly, you do. Like that needs, you know what? That needs to be a shirt. I know you've got something that Erica made you, but
a little hoodie. I mean, it's not. Look, I will say this, and Ken's watching right now, who is the brand new host and editor-in-chief of comics, and the brand new host of Turn a Page. And I won't butcher it, but I can't do it justice, even though the show was insane. But he is an evil genius, and literally the ending, is just brilliant. It's like, and Turn a Page. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah. No, but honestly, that is where you can see he's seasoned in doing this stuff. Now, I know a lot of times, like with the ODPH, it's very much non-visible. It's voice, because like I'll hear to the podcast. But even having him on screen and having the guys, and it was very smooth. Not like us, like we tend to be very talkative, and we sometimes will overlap. It was very nice to kind of hear it's kind of like Will Wilkins. It's like very smooth voices, vocals, everything that I wanted. Like literally, I was sitting there taking notes the whole time.
It is good to watch, not only different perspectives, but watch people that are, and in a positive way, that you're absorbing. And I got a chance to produce the show so that they could focus on it, right? And just kind of literally be behind the scenes and pull up photos and things like that. And it's really, I mean, look, we need more of that in the world, where people actually want to watch and learn and grow and pick up stuff from people that are good at what they do. And, and not hate. Again, we always talk about toxicity and things like that, but not hate on what they're doing, but respect it and be like, I liked what they did there. And and we have so many people like that. And I think that it's kind of cool to kind of be involved in that and see them do their thing and do it really well. And that's how you get better. And it's really
all about, and it's all about imitation. Imitation is one of the best form of flattery. At the same time, like I know where I have worked in the different roles that I am, if I can watch somebody do it and I can imitate what they're doing, it's so much easier for me. And when you try to do something just out of the blue without even considering other people, like learn from the people you love, but don't try to be a carbon copy. Take the time to actually, figure out, how could I take this and make it my own thing and do it my own way? Whereas like you have a lot of people, let's say TikTok. I'm just thinking about Amanda Castrillo, Amanda Just Vibin'. One of the things that she does really well is whenever she gets mail, she grabs, she gets the package. She's like, I got a thing in the mail. And she does like a certain inflection. And it's sad because a lot of people will try to imitate her and do exactly what she's doing. And they're trying to do the exact same thing. And it's like, no, get the idea that she made something so simple as I got a thing in the mail, and she made it catchy, and make it your own thing. Just find a way.
I actually saw, speaking of her, and I didn't know what she was doing for a second until I watched the whole thing. And I look, the internet culture is, I mean, we're old enough, and so is Ken, which is nice. And I'm not calling anybody else being old.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like in my 20s.
No. I mean, but we've seen things evolve, right? That's what I'm saying. And I still can't wrap my mind around some things sometimes. And this guy was doing something about. It was something about a movie, and the specifics escape me right now. But he was doing something, and then she came on. Oh, I'm watching my dog, making sure she doesn't kill anything. We'll say hi. And I realized once she comes on, this guy copied her word for word from her video. And I was like, whoa. And, she, obviously found it and, was just kind of laughing and having fun with it, but like showed her original video. And I was just like, the internet baffles me sometimes. It really, really does. There's nothing you can do. It is what it is.
There are people that do word for word copying where they'll basically just write the script down and then redo it. There's also people that literally take your footage and then make it as their own. One of my favorite, you guys know the Dolores from HR, the Star Wars.
Oh yeah, she's great.
She's fantastic. She's had to do a couple of times where she's gone out and said, listen, there's another account out there, the same profile picture, my name, all this stuff. And it's not me. It's not me. And they're getting more views than I'm getting. Like it's sad. She's like, I haven't made Dolores content in this, how many, this length of time. Like, this is not me. And it's sad because in some cases you will look on pages and you'll see people that'll say like, oh, it's the fan account. And you can tell that they're really a big fan. So they're kind of reposting videos, but what they don't realize is doing that actually hurts the creator that they're a fan of.
Yeah.
It's like, and again, we're talking about, we're right now during the writers and the actor strike.
I was just going to say that.
And AMPTP. But like one of the things that you don't realize is people who post shows on TikTok. Now in some ways it's a masterful way to get you to want to go watch a show, because I can't tell you how many times I have been pushed to see something because I saw it on TikTok, which I think is a big reason why a lot of people need to realize, just you making content about something sometimes pushes people to go into areas that you don't know, which is why influencers and content creators are so involved right now in why, SAG-AFTRA wants you to like back up and back away, because we're kind of doing their job. But at the same time, like they're stealing content and they're posting it on, like some people will never go watch those shows or anything. And then there's no residuals. There's no, paychecks to the actors or the writers. And mind you, with streaming, there's really none right now anyway. So studios, pay your people. But regardless, I didn't really go with that. I'm sorry, I'm getting preachy.
No, it's good.
So, no.
But hey, as a nice little what happened there?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm back.
I didn't touch anything there.
I don't know if you guys missed me. Fine. No, I got like a notification. It was like your connection dropped or whatever, but okay. Oh, hopefully Leia didn't whatever eat the Wi-Fi router. Okay. So let's not hold people up anymore as far as why some people might be tuned in, which I hope some people did tune in. So we did a nice little giveaway for July.
Yep.
We have a few giveaways. We had a live earlier this week where we were going over all the QR codes. This one is for the Spider-Man Stan Lee box, basically. So without spilling stuff, because I'm like a mess right now. But we posted some photos on Instagram and other places. The giveaway was to basically just sign up to our newsletter and send us your name and email address. That's it, right? So we got, Stan Lee Funko. We have some Legos in here. It's scattered around my office right now. There's an Avengers hoodie. There's a Venom hoodie. There's some cool Spider-Man, Oh, there we go. I thought I lost connection again.
I just said.
This one's my favorite, and I got another one copied to get signed, by the way. This is a Delato variant cover that I'm in love with. It's Gwen Stacy falling. So that's going to be in there as well. So we picked a winner. She is beyond deserving. I should have pulled up some imagery for this, but Emma Shotwell, you are Derek's like any Wolverine merch. The biggest diehard Wolverine fan around. But Emma, if you are watching, if you're not watching, totally okay. We communicated earlier. She is amazing. She's also in the comic community, which is really cool. And that was, a lucky byproduct. But
Absolutely.
watch her content. Go check her out. She is fantastic. Very supportive. She also put me onto something we're going to talk about in a second. But Emma, congratulations. We're going to send this out once I repack everything up because it's now a mess. But we're going to send this out tomorrow morning. Thank you for entering. And there's more to come. So let's really quick go over. Let's keep things straight. So we had the giveaway, which was basically to sign up for this, right? Here's the QR code. It's the contact us page. Keep this in mind. I'm putting it back up. We're not milking it because we've already done this giveaway. We are going to do monthly giveaways amongst other things. So feel free, hit the QR code, just give us your name and your email, and we'll be doing this all the time. That will dovetail into another giveaway that we're doing. So this is the July giveaway, and we'll keep it more organized next time. The next giveaway we're going to do is actually for Ken and for Turn a Page and for their first episode was on Secret Invasion, the comic series. We're not talking about the show because obviously, and there's basically you're getting the entire original comic run from 2009, and you get another. I mean, the guy is kind of the variant cover king. You're getting another. This is not the cover, but you get another Del Otto variant cover, which I really wanted to keep, but I was like, I'm not going to do it. So that's another giveaway. Again, same thing. Drop your email. You'll be entered into it. The July people are going to be entered into it as well. So if you missed out on this, because Emma won, you'll get that. And the final giveaway, the only thing that you actually have to do anything for monetarily is the giveaway for the sneakers. So for those who don't know, we understand because has not been on
let me just also say something real quick. This QR code is not the QR code for the giveaway. This is to pre-order the shoes. But go ahead.
So if you had ordered it, you will be entered into a special giveaway. One that's one of a kind. So we did a sneaker drop for those who don't know. And I will be done in a second. I will genuinely shut up. I want to shut up. There's just so much to say real quick, but we did a sneaker drop with our buddy Shoebaker, the Spidey Venom kicks. They are insane. People have been really excited about it. So those who pre-ordered and those who continue to order will be entered into a little bit of a bigger giveaway, right? So these the sneakers are custom made. There's a 50 pair pre-run, one Spider-Man, one Venom. There's plans to expand beyond that. But if you order these and continue to order them, you're not going to just get your pair. You'll get a golden ticket, and that golden ticket will result in you getting an extra Spider-Man shoe signed by Shameik Moore, the voice of Miles Morales in Across and Into the Spider-Verse. It's going to happen at New York Comic Con. We have the ticket already to get done. You will get that as well as like a collectible to do whatever you want to do. Wear it, put on your, put it on your wall, whatever. You'll have your pair as well. It's been hard to explain. They're not this pair. This is the Spider-Verse pair. It's going to be our shoes signed by Shameik. This is just an example. So with that, I'm done for real.
So let's also just kind of remind you guys when you do the and let's pull it back up here real quick. Let me see if I can. You have this. No, not that one. This one. When you follow this QR code, you're not just entering into the giveaways or any future giveaways. What you're doing is you're adding yourself to our newsletter. This is going to let you guys know about any special things that we're doing. If we're going to be at a convention doing something, which hopefully in the next month or so, we should have some really big news to share about an upcoming convention, as well as things about future drops, new shows, or anything special that's happening. All of that stuff is going to be a part of that newsletter. And by all means, it's cool to get that information because yes, we have the Nerd Initiative website. Yes, we have our YouTube channel and things, but really like getting that newsletter kind of gives you like the whole summary of what's going on. And that's a monthly newsletter. Don't worry, you're not going to get bombarded weekly. We're not trying to spam people. once a month, when we know it's ready, and we want to make sure it's done right, we will send a newsletter to you guys, so that you know what's going on with us. So that's it.
And I mean, and we are going to do a lot of giveaways. Like oddly enough, we are weird people who love to give away stuff and love to do it. And there's really, aside from the shoes was a unique experience for us because we're not used to selling stuff, right? Like we have a merch store, we have stuff like that, but that's mainly support and it's mainly
speaking of which,
there you go.
Keep the lights on. If you want to be a winner and you don't want to wait and you don't want to have to be, at the mercy of whatever we're going to do, you can always buy yourself something. It is a win-win situation. And we're always open for, recommendations of what kind of stuff you want to see from the Nerd Initiative merch store. So that's my plug.
Yeah. So we can leave this up, I think, to contact us, continue to do that. It's key. You're basically plugging into us and all the things we do, and there's going to be a lot more to come. So you're going to want to stay abreast of the situation, because there's a lot of cool stuff coming, a lot of giveaways. I think we give away more than we take. So if you're not involved, then you're missing out a little bit, is what I'm saying. It doesn't cost you anything. It's a name and an email. So do that. The shoes will push you. We'll push a little less than sign up for the newsletter and other things as well. So, and reach out to us.
Yep. So Michael, let's go ahead and touch bases on some of the stuff that's going on with us. Again, this episode is called Shooting the Breeze. We didn't bring a guest on because it's been a while since we didn't just have a guest. One of the things we've been trying to do with Fandoms is really giving opportunities for different creators or different people from different walks of life to kind of really talk about what they love in their fandom. We've had, Dragon Lady JJ, we've had Blake Koala, we've had Will Wilkins, and last week we had a whole panel of 3 people while Michael was enjoying the lap of luxury at San Diego Comic-Con. And we talked about the SAG-AFTRA and the WGA strike. And what it really pertained to with us as influencers. We've met Jade Rogers from House of Afros, Capes, and Curls. We had CJ on. It's been a really busy season for us.
Aww.
Like kind of talking about stuff. Look how cute that dog is.
What is she doing? What are you doing, girl?
She just wants to be in the limelight. That's all it is. You know what?
I don't know what she's doing, but okay.
Yeah. But we've had a lot of people on. But Michael, let's go ahead and talk about some things that are kind of going on with Nerd Initiative. Not necessarily the drops or anything else, but like, it's been a busy year.
Oh yeah, and it's only going to get busier.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, by this time last year, we at least had one con under our belt with Awesome Con. You'd already done Terrific Con. You did the John Romita Jr. Video, which I thought was fantastic. Where he was talking, I believe he was talking about what was it, 9/11 and the 9/11 cover and stuff. So she's good.
Should I let her out? I'll let her out. Hold on.
She's like, Dad.
Okay. Go, girl, go. Yeah. So let me close this door. Yeah. So saw him again this year at San Diego too. So if we're gonna, there's a lot to talk about, right? So
yeah,
San Diego, we went with one of our members as well. You seen that guy who everyone knows and loves. Yassine's the best. And we had a blast. It is the king of commerce, is what I will say about San Diego. And we actually went to Terrific Con again this past. See, she's trying to get in again. We went to Terrific Con again this past weekend. And there's a big contrast, right? So San Diego is huge, and it reminds me a lot of NYCC. It was actually kind of cool with the strike, and I was talking to JR about that, John Romita Jr., that really a lot of things went back to comics. I went back to the roots, but it was still crazy, right? And I wish actually we had pictures. I wonder if I can still pull them up if they're on my screen. Because there's some really good pictures you've seen. There was a lot of anime there. I'm looking.
Oh yeah.
people would think that like
the cosplay was phenomenal as well.
The cosplay is amazing. It's kind of like D23. It really was professional on a next level. The merchandise, where do I even begin? I mean, McFarlane had launched so many cool things. Now they're doing, how they have sketch covers that are blank that you sketch on.
They had the sketch figures. I saw those. Yes.
Figures now. And there was metal. And I think McFarlane Toys is really coming into its own and being a big thing. And he's even doing something now where he's on Whatnot. And I think he's doing he's auctioning off. They're cutting parts of the booth. So you know how the booth had vinyl photos. And so that's something where you can get it signed. Like if you want to get a rolled up part of the booth that has Spawn or this or that, I mean that's really
a great way to recycle the booth to make
really
money,
cool.
I guess.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So again, King of Commerce, a lot of cool stuff. I will say highlights for me. I mean, just being with Yassine and walking around, and we got to experience a lot of really cool things. Shortbox threw it amazing. It was cool to meet to not meet, but spend more time with those guys. They threw a great after party with CGC. Very intimate, really cool. Just hanging out with them. And yeah, that really was just the highlight.
Wait, better than New York Comic Cons?
Yes, I would
it
say
doesn't
yes.
take much. Yeah.
I would say yes. There was there was 100 people.
Oh, wow.
And it was cool. It was I forgot what the place is called, but they have a bowling alley on the second floor. It's crazy. So being with Yassine and friends was crazy. We got to meet up with Darth Chaco, who is, for you guys who don't know, is an amazing Star Wars creator on TikTok and their platforms. We got to talk for a day. So that was really fun. We met up on Sunday. And then I will say this, really, again, and this is where I'll dovetail into Terrificon, which I think I'm going to put it out right now. I have not been to Heroes Con, which I heard is an amazing convention in North or South Carolina. Terrificon, in my opinion, is the best con, hands down. And I'll tell you why in a second. And it's not the biggest con. It's not the most flashy, whatever. San Diego was cool because it was a throwback to comics, but it was still packed, a lot of commerce. And there were some moments there that were absolutely jaw-dropping. Me and Yassine, and when I posted the video, we got to see, we were at JR, hanging out with JR, and as many people know, his father passed. The legendary John Romita Sr. passed this year. I mean, talking about an icon, it's not even a question. For me, he's the guy who made Spider-Man. I think I was looking up his, so this is his first Spider-Man cover, and I got a tribute, basically a lot of artists doing their interpretation of Spider-Man on this cover. Now, what was I saying? So we just were hanging out with him, talking to him, getting this signed, whatever. And I feel a presence over my left shoulder. And I thought someone cut the line or whatever. And it's not a big line. It's probably 20, 30 people or whatever. And I look over, it's Todd McFarlane. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? It took me and Yassine a second to kind of comprehend and digest what was going on. And so Todd, I mean, talk about a moment in time. Todd came to pay his respects, basically. And so we watched the moment. I looked at Yassine and go, start recording this, because he had my phone. And, you could feel the emotion of the moment and how special it was. And JR even said to him, he's like, I know why you're here. And I just want to tell you, I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And I was just like, just to be a fly on that wall for something that special, is cool. It was the complete luck. And again, it's for a tough moment and for something that's really difficult, but just to see that and see two comic book icons, talk and hug, and JR's like, you want to come hang out? And he's like, oh no, I have to go to a panel. I just wanted to come by and say hi. And basically, again, it was paying his respects, and wow. I mean, just absolutely wow. So that really sums up San Diego to me is there was a lot of cool things. There's some cool photos. Yassine was really working the room and talking to some really cool anime companies. And there's so many installations and cool things. So it's just a really cool event that everyone should go to at least once. And I'm actually glad. I'm not glad there's a strike. I'm glad it was this year, because I went to D23 during the Marvel panel and stuff like that. It's just it's anxiety inducing. Like, I got to here and wait for 3 hours and get in the panel. There was really no pressure. It was just kind of walk around, explore. And then one more thing, and then I'll shut up. Terrific Con was last weekend, and it was just me and my wife, and my wife is like 7 months pregnant. So it's obviously we didn't go full force. But for those who live in the Connecticut area or the Northeast and are con fans and are comic fans, and we got to get Mitch, who's the founder of Terrific Con, on the show at some point. It is the best con. It feels like we're in the 80s. We're fans of comics. I talked to Al Milgram for like hours, and then we're there, and Art Adams comes over and is talking to him about all the people they helped to get started. And you Walt Simonson turns around and he's signing. He's like, I've signed more Throg photos in the past couple months than I have in my entire career. And like, you just have all these icons. Chris Claremont sitting there with his dog hanging out. Like, it is just the coolest thing. Josh Segarra, who is an awesome actor. You guys know Pug from She-Hulk, and you had Sean Gunn there. They're just walking around. They're getting autographs from they're fans themselves. You don't see this anymore. And it makes me so nostalgic for like the times when it was like, and everyone's staying at the same hotel. So, you see people getting dinner, and like, I don't know if I'm getting that old guy, like, get off my lawn, but I just can imagine the times that, 20 years ago where you stay at a convention and like, oh, Stanley's walking the lobby, or, John Romita's there sign, we'll never get those days back, but I highly recommend for anyone who is a fan of this stuff and seeing stuff, like, go to Terrific Con. It's not expensive. It's at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. And it is 2 years now I've gone, and both times I've walked away with an experience that will last a lifetime, just having fun, talking about stuff. Al Milgram telling me about being a kid in Michigan and going to the comic shop and getting, Fantastic Four 5 or 6 because 5 didn't come out in his area and they were spotty. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's why 5 is worth so much aside from its first Doom. But it's just really interesting and such cool to get. We love origin stories and getting people's stories, and you get that and then some. And with that, I am done, and I will shut up.
That's the thing. I think, like, okay, so I have been going to conventions. I've always like eyed San Diego Comic-Con. You grew up, knowing that was like the big destination. That was a big destination. I know, like, in the early 2000s and then in the early 2010. And then it's become kind of hit or miss when it comes to productions, like announcing things. It would, like, people weren't going to be at Hall H and all that kind of stuff. I almost kind of feel like things like C2E2, actually, I wouldn't put C2E, even though C2E2 is with Reed Pop. So like New York Comic-Con and San Diego Comic-Con would be, in my mind, be like destination type conventions.
Yeah.
It's very much kind of like the Disney World of going to conventions. There's lots of things to do and see. You may not get to everything. And when you come back, it's almost like everything is a blur, and you have to go back and look at pictures and be like, oh yeah, that actually happened. Whereas places,
if you don't want me interjecting 1 second, and I'm trying to get better at interrupting, but before I forget, to your point, and you woke up something in my head. For those who don't know, NYCC is the Javits Center, and it's this big, huge building, and it's on the west end of New York City. Now, New York City, there's tons to do, but it's kind of isolated on the west end. Like, there's not, like, it's the convention and that's it. There's a Dunkin' Donuts across the street. And
there's lots of construction going on around it, and it's probably going to be like a big city center later on, but right now it's just that.
San Diego, and then I will shut up for real, but you jarred something loose. Another thing that was unique that I experienced for the first time this year is there's an entire downtown by the convention center where if you walk, so the convention center's here, if you walk out and you go, and me and Yassine were like floored, and it's hot, it's the summer, and even in San Diego, it's like 80 and you're sweating and you've been whatever, but the whole town is taken over.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool. Like the restaurants, obviously since COVID, there's all the stuff that's set up outside. Everyone's got their badges on, they're wearing them, they're walking around. And there's even installations. Like it's a downtown, a really cool downtown. There was Only Murders in the Building. We couldn't find it, but we could tell it was in the downtown area. There was a couple other things. So to your point, it is a destination. And it felt, what jarred loose is it does feel like Disneyland. Like the whole area is all San Diego. And I don't think New York has that feel. Like you walk out of New York Comic Con and you're going home. C2E2, it was isolated as well. San Diego, you walk out and you go across the train tracks and it's all these little downtown like restaurants and shops and whatever. And so you can go grab some food if you want, or you can go, there's a couple installations and everything is, they've literally, what's it called when they cover the they've covered the buildings in like different shows and movies, which we won't mention, but different shows and movies and stuff coming out. It feels like Universal Studios. It feels like Disneyland. So sorry, I just wanted to like,
no, but like that's exactly what yeah. And I took C2E2 out of that mix because I think if you really go and you look at it, like especially when we went to New York Comic Con last year, there were lots of different big exhibits for different things. Like I remember probably my favorite thing was the Wonders of Xandar, which was a big old exhibit for the Cosmic Rewind ride at Disney World. And like I still have fond memories of that. And I still have the Zarg nuts. And so there are those experiences that you could easily miss them and it'd be like, oh, you didn't do that ride or you didn't do this thing. And I love that about New York Comic Con because like you had all that stuff. C2E2 kind of felt a little bit more intimate in my opinion in the family because it was so much more vendor centric. And like you had all of the vendors and the, the things going on. And mind you, I could just be completely, showing favoritism to C2E2 for the fact that we had our booth there and then we had our first panel and it was just like so much fun. But like things like, Awesome Con and Terrific Con, they're more centered for the experience with people and you can really sit down. Like some of my best engagements with people happened at Awesome Con. I remember going and like you go to get the celebrity autographs and we were talking about this earlier. Brian T was right there and nobody was coming up to him. And so like, I just stood and I said, hey, listen, absolutely. I'm going to get something signed. I'm a big fan. And so we sat and talked and he told me about like projects he was going to be in like years before he was doing them. He, it was like the whole thing, don't tell anybody, but this is actually coming down the road. And like, so I knew about a show he was going to be on. I knew about a movie he was doing, before it happened. I remember going up to Judith Hoag and she was talking about how, she was angry because she got snubbed from a movie. Like they filmed her in it as it was a cameo role because she played a character that was being played by somebody else. I'm doing my best not to like give specifics, but they like completely cut her out. So she was like really unhappy with it. I remember meeting Michael Bine and talking to him about working with Sigourney Weaver. And they were talking at the time because there was talks about them coming back for a role. And so like there was all of this stuff. And I remember just sitting down and having these conversations with people.
Yeah.
And it seems so intimate to the point of where like Brian T's like, hey, let's take a picture. And then I told you like I met Allison Mack, which unfortunately that was like in her in her cold phase. I didn't know. I literally went to work like I think a month or two later, and I said, "Hey, look, I got this picture with Allison Mack," and they go, she has like a sex cult. I'm like, I didn't know. So yeah, definitely interesting experiences you have when it's a little bit more of an intimate interaction.
So since I'm on my promotion kick, I just uploaded something in real time, which is the beauty of Restream.
Me talking.
No. So look, I think this is a good example, right? Like, look, conventions it's a mixed bag these days, right? Like, it's hard to know what to expect to where you're going. And it's hard to know the pros and cons and who should go to what. So with that said, we have a site coming out in a few months called The Convention Life. So, I mean, might as well show a little teaser of what it's going to look like, which I'm very excited about. And so you see, C2E2 here, D23, NYCC, Terrific Con. And also you see here in the middle, we went to C2E2 and one of the highlights for us was getting everyone's personal story, which that will be featured heavily on the site is, all the goers and what they're into and why they got into it and stuff like that. So just a little plug of something that's going to come out in just a few weeks to a few months. And I love this because if you are a convention fan, I did the research last year and I'm not trying to give anyone ideas to like steal from us, but it's possible amongst the 27 viewers now. But there's not really a one-stop shop to find out what to do. And like, as I got back into it, the last couple of years, I remember looking into and being like, all right, what do I want to go to? And I'm getting, I have like kind of an addictive personality. Like clearly, I mean, if you look at this, like I mean, even JR was like, what compelled you to take this classic cover and have everyone who has not worked on it, by the way, start putting into their own like Spidey face, like what? And I was like, I don't know. I get an idea in my head and I just I go all in. I'm in like this like autograph kick now where I love getting original art and autographs. And I know other people like to do that, but it would be nice to know where to go. Right. And then if you want celebrities, like where to, like to each his own, like, what are you into? What's the best thing to go to? What would you like to go to? I mean, even smaller cons, like look, Big Apple Comic Con, which has been around for decades. And, the founder and organizer, we saw him in San Diego. He's a blast. Like he is a classic vet of the scene. He's great. I'm trying to remember his name. If I saw him, I could point him out. He's awesome. He, for Big Apple Con, which is a smaller one at the New York Hotel, he did a really cool interview with Roy Thomas for 20 of us in a room, just talking about Star Wars and Marvel in the 70s and 80s. And, then we did some signings afterwards. So it's just good to know what you're going to get depending on where you go. And like I said, I've always heard in the community, Heroes Con is an epic convention down south. So that's one I want to definitely check out as well. So that will be convention life. So we'll throw it up there one more time, but that will be it. And I mean, not really pitching much. Like this is not live. There's nothing to sell.
And there's lots of options for this as well. Like there's lots of ways that we can do this to enhance the experience, not just for the fan, not just for the convention goer, but also for people who are looking to do, like, let's say, be vendors or, artist alley exhibitors. We've talked about it. Like one of the things that I feel like, because if you don't know, like I've done digital and spray paint art for conventions for a number of years. I've been on that side of the table, and it's not easy with etiquette from people and like knowing like there's not really a good resource out there. Like I can tell you, I've spent hours upon hours going on YouTube looking up how people would set up their booths, but there's no one that tells you really what you can and can't do or what's easy to do. So we want to make it, useful for every facet of the convention experience. So
I was surprised to find out that there wasn't anything out there. And there are, but they're just like a page full of links, right? Like
exactly links.
It's got the dates.
It's like a calendar. That's all it is.
Yeah, and there's a lot that have like, look, for like example, like GalaxyCon, right? Like it is so hard to quantify GalaxyCon because there's multiple GalaxyCons. There's it's getting, digital is getting more and more popular, and this is great. I mean, this is a great show to talk about conventions.
Yeah,
it is a weird thing. Like I've done a lot of GalaxyCon send-ins. I'm even doing a send-in. Like, look, there's send-in. And this should be a section on there as well. There's a whole section or a whole cottage industry for just sending stuff in so you don't have to go. And trust me, I take full advantage of that because my experience, and Tony knows this very well, it is dreadful to wait in line all day while, let's say, maybe your business partner is walking around having the time of his life in New York City and meeting a bunch of people and having a blast, and you're stuck in line waiting for Michael J. Fox for 5 hours. Like it's
but it was worth it in the end. If you think about it,
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
you'll
never get back. And even Awesome Con, which I like, and I think Awesome Con's kind of a smaller yet great con. Karen Gillum, who was delightful, by the way, and everyone knows she's delightful, was 2 hours late to that because they overbooked her for the photo ops. Now, it's not her fault. I blame this on the companies trying, again, the cash cow. And that's why I feel like Terrific Con is different. Like, it doesn't feel like, I mean, there's a bunch of vendors and smaller people and whatever. It
just brought something up in mind too.
Yeah, it feels like an experience. It's not completely packed. And for my wife, who's 7 months pregnant, it was nice. And yeah, whoever wants to comment, like, God bless her for coming with me. And like, everyone said that, by the way. And I know how lucky I am. It's just, the older you get, the more you get to focus on experiences and stuff that you can hold on to. And like a 3-hour conversation with Al Milgram about Popeye, which is how he got into, that's his nerd origin story. Like taking his mom's sheet paper that you put in closets and drawers and drawing Popeye on there. And I was like, wait, this is so cool. Like, that's something you walk away from and you're like, wow, that was great. Waiting in line for 3 hours to get a signature it's nice in the end, but it's also like 20 years you're not going to remember. Yeah.
So let's say this, because like you brought up something when you're talking about like the photo ops too, because we talked about this not so long ago. There have been times where I have done the photo ops and I've really enjoyed it. Early on, my family jumped in. We did like a whole group picture with Denai Guara, which
that's awesome.
She's an amazing person. If you've never met her in life, like I loved her as Michonne. She's even better as Okoye. Like, but as a human being, she's just an amazing person.
And that's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was a great experience. I met Elizabeth Hensridge and I think it was like Brett Ward.
Yeah, I like those
guys. They're fun people. We met what was it?
We did Haley Atwell a couple years.
We did Haley Atwell, which was interesting because she was about to go do the mission. Never mind. She was going to film something, and they had to keep her like separate from everybody because of like COVID and stuff. Wow, that was so easy to almost slip up. But like met a number of people, and some of those photo ops were fantastic. But then at the same time, I'll be honest with you, I was more impressed with the selfies at the table sometimes.
Yes.
And people don't understand. You're going to get in those selfies, you're going to get a much more intimate and personal experience than you are going to be at the person where and literally, if you've never done a photo op and you're thinking about doing one, understand this. You are going to pay for as much as, if not more than the autograph to stand in line, be rushed up to the person, be told what you cannot do. You have to hurry to drop your stuff off, get your picture, grab your stuff, and then they're going to charge you not only for the photo, they're going to charge you extra for the digital copy. And you could just go, and in some cases, it sometimes is initiated by the celebrity, or it's in there if you get an autograph like for $15 more or $20 more. They'll take a selfie with you on your phone that you don't have to ask for anything else.
Well, get this. So Terrificon, and that's what happened. Like, I'm not a big photo guy because I think it's because of my past experience for about, 15, 20 years working in entertainment. And so like that came naturally with work. And like when you interview people, I didn't do it all the time, but it was very rare. No, it wasn't rare, but it would take a special circumstance to take a photo. James Earl Jones, Mark Hamill, these kind of things. Like, I gotta get a photo with you. You're an icon. If there was other things, you don't want to feel like you're encroaching. So you're kind of like, you do an interview and then you get up and you go. And sometimes there's video involved as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm not. I don't go. Again, same as everything else, to each his own. Some people really love the photos and the memories. Some people love the autographs. I'm more of an autograph guy because I think it's just cool and you have something to hold on to and, give to my unborn son, 2 months. It's cool. Yeah. But Terrificon made it so easy where like Sean Gunn, right? And I like say his autograph was $40. They're like, oh, an extra 20 we'll throw in a selfie. And you're like, okay, why not? Like, it's not going to be also, you're not waiting in an extra line. It's not the time is the biggest thing. You're not waiting an extra line. You're not paying $100. Some of these photo ops are insane. If you look up, go to nycc.com and look up, it's Epic Photo Ops and see how much they charge. And it's crazy. And I'd rather just take like you said, take a selfie. Sean Gunn took 4 pictures with us. And he was like, let's do a smile. Let's do this.
And he controlled the camera too. Didn't
he was holding it. He was like, oh, I got the longest arms. I'm going to take it. Like, that's a normal human being experience. And that's what I want. I don't want to have this weird, like, oh, there's, and when COVID, there's a glass thing between some people. And I think that's what you're saying with Haley. Like and that's not always going to be.
The photo ops remind me of like going to get a picture of Santa Claus. That's literally how it is.
And no knock against it because a lot of people love having those things. And that's great. And so it's fine. I just think there's an easier way to do it and a cheaper way. And let's not get it mistaken. Like, we've had phones for a long time, and now our phones, the cameras are just as good as anything else. There's no reason. I remember when selfies were starting to get big, and I think it was the mid 2010s, right? And I remember going not as a fan, as a professional covering NYCC. Stan was still alive. And I remember sitting in a line, and I wasn't doing anything, but I was like just doing interviews and walking around. And I think it was like $50 to take a selfie with Stan Lee or something, right? Or 50 or $60. That would be like $200 now. And you'd have to wait 3 hours. And this was part of you can make the decision when you got up there. This is what gets me. It does not need to happen. You can cut down the lines. You can cut down on the crowding. You can cut down. There was almost a riot when we had the Michael J. Fox thing because there was thousands of people in one area at NYCC. And I've not minced words about this. Like, this was a dangerous thing last year they did. Instead of, they didn't hire enough people to organize the lines, and there was time frames, and the time frames didn't mean anything. If you had a 1:15 or a 5:15, everyone just kind of bum rushed the thing. And it's scary. And it happened to, a lot of, if you're in the comic industry, you know what happened to Peach Momoko last year, where she like hit under the table because they bum rushed her, and she's the nicest person alive. So
yeah,
it just doesn't need to happen. Like, I can't get more animated about it. It doesn't. After going to Terrific Con, you see how the other half lives.
But
Josh
you also realize, hold on, but you also realize when you go to these conventions, especially these big ones, you understand there's a level of where these guys are coming in with these large carts full of comic books where all of their intention is to make money off of these people.
Yeah.
So that adds to the drama of it all. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, because it's people. I mean, look, at Terrificon, I will say this, and they weren't that bad of lines, but the longest lines were Chris Claremont and Walt Simonson. And for those who don't know, Claremont, obviously an iconic X-Men writer, and Walt Simonson, an iconic Thor author and artist. And next to his wife, his lovely wife, Louise Simonson, who I love couples that work in the industry together, and you can tell they've been together for decades. And Louise actually is an acclaimed writer who's done a lot of great stuff, and you couldn't tell if the line was, and she didn't have much of a line. I walked up, I was like, I want to get her autograph. Like, Walt Simonson's an iconic. Yeah. One day I'll get his autograph. But they had the longest lines because they were free. The only thing they were charging Chris and Walt was, I think, at least for the first book, I'm not sure, past that, was a donation to Hero Initiative, which I think is, again, Terrific Con is a huge supporter. I mean, I can go on and on. Like, watch Mitch end up being like a serial killer. Just kidding. But like, I'm raving about this guy and this convention, and like, they're donating to charity and to artists. It's really for the community, and that's what I love. Like, I can't say it enough. Like, I really can't. And so seeing Josh Segarra, who, if you saw a photo, you know who he is. We should pull it up. I mean, whatever. But he's in a ton of stuff. And he's walking around getting, I think, Tom King's autograph, and he's wearing an Ultimate Warrior t-shirt. And that's what you want to do. Like, that's the thing. And not like, D23. Let's not, we don't have to hammer on NYCC all the time, but D23, I remember, Kevin Feige was walking the floor because I think he just wanted to walk and see the exhibits and talk to fans. And his handlers ran in immediately and were like, you got to get out of here. Like, no more photos, like, stop. And it's like, what is the point of all this then? This is all supposed to be, Kevin Feige is a huge comic fan. And if he can't enjoy it, if I was him, I'd be like, get out of my face. Like,
D23, Anthony was able to get a photo with him.
He ran in there, got a photo with him. Like, because otherwise, like, and I understand, like, you don't want to get mobbed, and there's got to be careful. And I can't imagine what Stan went through. And I can't imagine someone like, this year at NYCC in 2 months, we got Chris Evans, you got Ewan McGregor. I think they're the guests of honor. You have a lot of big names, and there's no way Chris Evans can like go anywhere, right? But I just like, and I feel for them, and I also think I love the time warp back in time where everyone's having fun. You're building bridges and making relationships, and that's the whole thing. That's what it should be about. And it's not everyone's trying to cash in, which is what I feel like. And maybe I had a bourbon earlier with dinner, and like I'm being more open than usual. But I think everyone just is trying to cash in, and it really kind of gets old after a while. Even, and this is where I'll stop my rant, but even we went to dinner at Michael Jordan Steakhouse in the Mohegan Sun after Terrific Con. Even the bartender was like talking to us. Oh, what is that? What's that hat? Oh, is that? He asked me again, like, I think it's the second time we've gotten it. Is that a Dallas North Stars hat? And I was like, no, it's Nerd Initiative. Like, gave him the card, and like, it's just a really good experience, and everyone's having fun, and you see everyone got their things on, and it's everyone's part of it, and it's a cool thing. And so, I mean, I just wish other things were like that, where you walk away and being like, cool, and it's not like this, you know, cash grab for people. Like, oh, we're gonna get like 1,000 photo ops, and they're like 4 hours late because they got to make sure to do it because everyone's paid and then they prepaid and the money's there, and it's like, and that's another thing, they don't do a lot of prepaid at Terrificon. So
Right.
if the line gets cut off, the line gets cut off. I mean, it happened with Walt.
Yeah, there's a lot of rain checks and a lot of issues that happen with that.
Well, they have spotters who, and that's in, and I will say to their credit, and again, it's not connected. And New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con are not connected. So for those who don't know and have never noticed, there's a hyphen in one of them, I forget, and not, I think it's purposely. So one is Comic Con and one is Comic Con because they're trying to show that they're not affiliated with the same company.
Right.
And for San Diego, they had spotters, and there was a lot of people, whether it was merchandise or artists or whatever, and mostly merchandise. Like there was stuff that was hot to get, like, go get this now. Like there was Funko trading cards that just came out and things like that. There's people at the end of the lines being lines cut. So you don't waste your time, get up to the front and they're like, oh, we're sold out, or no, we're cutting the line here. And I've had that happen before. That's the biggest letdown of your life, where you waited 3 hours and they're like, oh, he's calling it a day, come back tomorrow. And you're like, wait, what? What are you doing?
Also, and then if you don't have a pass for the next day, and then also like a lot of these, like these preset things, like I remember we ran into this with New York Comic Con last year, where it was kind of like they had these these events where you had to do a virtual queue and get into, and there are ways for people to break into that, and it makes, you know, the average Joe lose faith in being able to have a possibility of getting into something. So, you know, it's, I personally feel like, and I think that's where I kind of, even Awesome Con, as much as I love it, like I don't enjoy it as much, because the pre-order, the prepay type stuff, it means you're stuck there, because a lot of times they give you a specific time that you have to be there.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you're also in line with the people who didn't get a ticket, who were already in there. So it's not like pre-ordering gets you anywhere farther into the line.
And the Awesome Con has their if you get a premium pass, they have like the line skips,
the jump passes,
the line jumps, which works sometimes, right? So for Andy Serkis, I just got a Funko sign, and he was a delightful human being, which I've heard, and it was nice to kind of like chat with him, and he was smiling and talking to fans, and it was great. And he like, someone was like, oh, what's this photo? And he's like, oh, that is this movie that I was in. And I'm not going to do the accent because I would butcher it. And so he was great. So that I waited in line 5 minutes, in, out, great.
Right.
Karen Gillan, who probably was the biggest name there. I was in the line jump line, and it still was like a 3 hour wait. And
well, yeah, because a line jump doesn't do anything for you when she's 2 hours late.
Well, it's 2 hours late, plus everyone had a line jump. So we were like probably 100 people back. And I kept looking around and being like, what is the point of this? Like, this is crazy. I actually, if I hadn't bought tickets, I would have been like, let's just go. And if I didn't have to get something, you know, and you said pre-ordering, I think that's the problem, is like, they know it, and they know they got you. And if you, Kofi's on, and they know that if you have bought it, you're going to stick around. So you're not going to like, you're not going to give up and bail. I don't agree with that mentality. I think wait, you know, and like I said, at you know, Terrificon, you had John Wesley Shipp, who is, for those who don't know, like one of the original Flashes on TV. And he's the father in the Flash show. I'm allowed to say that, right? Like, I'm not even I'm not promoting it or anything. Yeah, whatever. He's a great actor. He was super nice. He made it out, like a little Funko got signed. No one, he had like 5 people in line. And I think it's just a really good experience. And you get to talk to people. And we were talking about the kids. He was like, oh, who should I make this out to? And I was like, for those who don't know, my son's going to be named Luke. So we was like, oh, to Luke, and our dog.
Hold on.
Yeah. Luke and Leia. Yeah. Our little mini golden retriever that you saw, that was getting her 15 minutes of fame. We'll throw that up real quick. That's Princess Leia, and our son is going to be Luke. So, and so he was signing it to Luke, and then he was like, oh, when's he due? And then like, due in October. And you don't get that experience anywhere else. And Kofi's right. You can't, like, especially you remember, and then we probably should start to wrap, I guess. We're almost at an hour, but You remember what I was like at C2E2. So I had sent in some stuff for Chris Evans, and he's really doing the circuit right now. I think Chris is doing it. Ewan McGregor's doing it. You can tell when people are doing the circuit. Like Chris has done C2E2. He did something else recently too, and now he's doing NYCC. So
Right.
he's doing like, and thank you, Becky. He's doing a lot of conventions, and so, but at the time, I'd gotten like a ticket. I purposely got it for like Sunday, like tried to get like the least crazy day. And I got it for, I don't think I'm going to show anything weird, but I got it for this helmet that I have signed by him now. Let's see if I can get this over. Yeah, there you go. See the Captain America helmet, right? So, I wanted to get that signed, and just the amount of anxiety I had going into, I was like, it's Chris Evans. He's the biggest name here, clearly. I was like, this is going to be awful. Now, to C2E2's credit, it was organized really well. It was about a half hour. We got there early. We got in line. We went up, and Chris could not have been, I've interviewed him before, so I knew, but he couldn't be more gracious. I missed a really great opportunity to make a joke because I was like, oh, long day for you. And he was like, I can think of so many worse things to do today. And I was like, like super nice guy. We walked out. My wife looks at me. She goes, so he was saying he could do this all day? And I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So yeah, really upsetting. I literally set him up and teed him up and basically did not close. Which
he probably knew that was possibly like going to go there. And he's like, I'm not feeding into this.
I didn't even mean it because I that's my go-to for celebs and people that are signing all day. I feel for them, and I'm like, it's literally my generic thing. Like when I'm in autopilot and I'm like, it's been a long day for you, huh? Because usually it's like, yeah, my hand's killing me or whatever. And he's just like, he was so gracious, and we walked out, and Eric was like, you missed the best opportunity ever to make a joke. And so yeah, whatever. But it was organized really well. But you remember the anxiety on my face after NYCC, and I'm like, is this going to be a 3? I want this to be over. I want to get the autograph and then call it a day. Yeah. And luckily it wasn't that bad, but most of the time it's really bad.
Yeah, I think that's why AwesomeCon, you were more apt to do something like get more autographs, because I think it wasn't as bad at C2E2. It could have been worse. But New York Comic Con did definitely, like, that's one thing I would say. I love New York Comic Con for a lot of things. I will tell you, the congestion was terrible, which I'm not looking forward to. Well, I am looking forward to it a little bit. I like being around a lot of people. I'm not looking forward to germs. But second of all, I love like the exhibit floor. I love interacting and running into people. And it's one of the first places where I was able to actually sit down. Like, like when I go somewhere, I'll get recognized at least once. Mm-hmm. But like at New York Comic Con, it was like my people. It's like my nerds. Like running into people that I knew and just being able to hang out. You want the fun experience of hanging out with your friends. Yeah, exactly.
100%.
So let's get ready to wrap up. There is a couple things we want to go ahead and talk about real quick. First thing I want to just mention is, if you don't know, we have a network of nerds. I say it that way, of content creators, influencers in our team that are doing phenomenal stuff. We've talked about ODPH Ken. We've talked about Paperweight Entertainment, Derek. And like, you guys know Pooja, and you guys know Mickey, and everything for all of the stuff that they do. And of course there's Jeremy, and there's so many people we could definitely talk about.
Yeah, we have a really, really great core team, and
I would
amazing stuff.
But I would just say this, there are also a number of creators that are just in the background being supportive, being positive within our community of Nerd Initiative members. And one of them is kind of like, one of them is in need. And I want to just explain, I am Batman 915 is on TikTok. He's been a great support. He's one of those guys where you'll literally, he'll just give slabs away. And he's, like just a good dude, just always positive, has helped us out on a number of occasions. But he was in a car accident not too long ago, and he's in need of surgery. He's also got kids to take care of. And so if you see in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a QR code. This is to a GoFundMe. He put this there to try to get some help because he's got, the bills of surgery. He was basically T-boned, not of any fault of his own, and is on bed rest. He's struggling. And if you would be willing to drop, he's not even put a large amount on there. I think it's literally like the goal is $5,000, and you could tell that's him just trying to make things meet.
Yeah.
But if you wouldn't mind going there and, every little bit helps.
Share
In
this.
fact,
I mean, you don't have to, again, share it.
yeah.
Let people know this is a really good guy in need, and he's always the first to offer to give. Like Tony said, like he never like anytime we talk about. I mean, you have to kind of shut him down sometimes. Where he's like, I got slabs for that. I got things I'll give. Like he's just a good guy, and me and Tony didn't even know. I think it was mid-July it happened. I had no idea. I guess we've been really focused on this and traveling and so much stuff, and I had no idea. And there's no, I don't want to compare like, there's no one that's more deserving. I mean, there's so many people that are, but this is a really good person. And so even if just like sharing this and telling people about it, it really, we'd appreciate it. Cause again, we want to just do what we can to help people out. And especially someone like this, who's a good friend and I can't say it enough.
Yeah. And we're going to leave that up there, but that also brings up, this is not the only instance where we've heard about recently of a car accident. And I'll let you explain a little bit of this, but Donnie Cates, comic book writer, basically lost 6 months of his life.
It's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
And having to deal with this, but go ahead, Michael, and you want to explain a little bit?
Well, okay. So basically, this is where things get weird, and this is social media and the internet, I guess. I don't know. I mean, look, there's celebrity stuff that we've seen along the years or whatever, but basically he's kind of been quiet for quite a while now, and people started to question like what happened, and all the rumor mill started to swirl and all this stuff like that, and so crazy rumors and whatnot, and so he was at San Diego, and I think people hadn't seen him in forever, and I forgot who it was. I'm in the store. I think Bleeding Cool. I also didn't know that he used to be a contributor for Bleeding Cool, which is really interesting. And then obviously he's now like a really top-notch writer who just like does some of the craziest storylines. He's great. And so basically like they caught up with him and were like, hey, where you been? What's going on? Blah, blah. And he just told him, he's like, yeah, I've been, essentially he doesn't remember months of his life. He got into a really bad accident. Like, I'm not going to describe it. It was bad, but there's photos out there that he shared, and just wanted to, he actually really, it's funny, media and people doing interviews get a bad rap sometimes, but I think the ones that do, and I hope we are in this place one day, not in a situation like this, but that we are in the minds that like in people's minds like that. He came to Bleeding Cool and another outlet and was like, I want you to talk to me because I want you to set the record straight because I trust you and I know you. And I hope, like I said, I hope people think of us that way, where we're not looking for sensational or clicks or, it's not like that. We want to just build relationships and stuff. So he basically just admitted what happened. Like he went through a divorce. Like he got in the accident. He was in the hospital. He can't remember a lot of things. He had to like rehab, like everything. Like he had severe, like a brain injury, his scars. And like, so, I mean, look, I just think, what's the moral of this story? One, we obviously want to wish him well 100%, and we're hoping it seems like he's doing better. He's slowly, I can't imagine, but I also think like, again, like people should not be so quick to think something crazy, tomorrow, did he get fired? I don't even know what the rumors were out there. I didn't even look. I didn't know. I whatever. But like, again, you never know what someone's going through. And I think Tony can agree with this. And this will be a great, segue. Even when it comes to like trolling on the internet or whoever, you just never know what someone's going through. Everyone's going through really tough times now, COVID, and then the economy is kind of weird or whatever. So just be more empathetic and try to lead with that, and lead with like seeing how people are and reaching out and connecting to people. And, it does seem like he's doing a little better. Obviously he's speaking now and stuff like that. And I hope he's able to get back into, there was one comment he made there, and then I'll hand it off to you. That was really, I mean, he's a brilliant writer. So
I'm gonna take him off the screen because it looks like you're leaning on him.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. He's a brilliant writer. So obviously he's really quick with the quips and whatever. He said something about like, he wasn't aware of something, right? And he made it like a funny where he was like, oh, he's like, I didn't know I wrote Spider-Man. You know, like he basically like had forgotten something and he's making light of it. But man, that is scary to have that kind of, you know, brain injury and lose those things. So we just wish him the best. And I hope he's doing okay physically, mentally, everything, because that's just, I can't imagine this. That's incredibly difficult.
Absolutely. You know, I think that's the important thing. Like you were saying about the, you know, you can't ever assume anything about anybody, you know, just be aware. And many of you who, if you're watching, you're a content creator, you know this, you know, only about 10% of real life actually ever shows up on this, you know, on a profile page, on a TikTok video. You know, you don't get to see the full picture. And, you know, you never really know people until you really get to engage and interact with them. And I think that's the thing. You can do that. You can build relationships and friendships, but you should never just automatically assume or, you know, go to bat or vouch for someone or even condemn someone based off of the little information that you know that's contained within this screen. Because you'll never know what a person is going through or what a person has done when it comes to, you know, accusations or anything else. Nobody's perfect. And there's been a lot of stuff going on, and I don't want to really touch on it too much, but even in like the music industry and everything else, the perceptions that people have for celebrities can easily be doused because of an action that they do or an accusation that they receive. And even, you know, your celebrities, first of all, they should never be your moral compass. You should never live your life based off of people that you see on the internet or television or movies. But at the same time, you know, understand that they are people and they're not perfect, and you should never expect perfection out of them. It's easy for us, and we talk about this in the auspice of us being in a show called Fandoms. You know, we sometimes live our life, you know, based in the fantasy that we build, whether it's, you know, our identity as a Marvel fan or a Star Wars fan or whatever it is. You know, those things can easily disappoint you. And instead of, you know, like being a toxic fan or, you know, being upset or ranting because you see that there are screws in Star Wars or, you know, different things like that, you just have to be able to understand that it's not real life, be able to separate it, you know, a bit, but at the same time, finding that balance of enjoyment and not letting it dominate your life and what you do. I think I went on completely different spectrums of this, but again, like things are never perfect, and they're never going to be perfect. And just be careful. And at the same time, don't go, you know, on a bandwagon just because you think you know what you know based off of a little bit of information that's out there. Because there's too much misinformation.
Do your own research and enjoy the stuff for what it is. Enjoy the art for what it is. Enjoy the person, what they do for what it is. But yeah, you know, the older I get, the more these old adages ring true. Don't judge a book by its cover. You know, all that stuff. Just get to know the person or whatever before you think anything, because you really don't know. That's the bottom line. So I think that's it. Yeah. And again, one last time, go to the QR code for Batman. Like, go to it, share it, whatever you can do. It really is key. I think I'm going to post this on my personal stuff as well. And just like, you know, not because it's cool, but there's someone who's a good guy or a good person who's in need. That's the core of everything, right? And so, yeah, I mean, that's all I can say about that. Is just, you know, tell people whatever you can do. That,
and if you can't donate, because listen, it's hard times for everybody. At least share it. You know,
that's
just
what I'm saying.
Share it on social media. Reach out. By all means. Michael, anything else you want to say?
No, that's it. Once again, congrats, Emma. Send out your giveaway, and many more to come. We should throw up, you know, we're we able to throw up 2 QR codes at once?
I don't think we are, but oh yeah, we are. Look at that.
Oh, technology. Yeah, reach out to us, contact us, and let us know. We're gonna do a ton of more giveaways. I'm excited to start getting some of these boxes out of my apartment, with all these goodies in it, and so here we go. So yeah,
And then also don't forget to also check out the new show. Wait, no, that's not it.
well, that's the
That's
comments.
the bullpen. Yeah.
I don't think we have a QR code for the new show.
We don't have. Oh, we got to do that. Okay, so we'll make sure. I thought that was the one for that.
Check out the bullpen, which is
check out the bullpen.
I mean, especially with no movies and TV currently, we're standing with SAG and WGA. Our comic content is off the hook right now with under Ken's guidance and with JJ and Marty and Maddie. I mean, and Derek, who is our new managing editor as well. Like, check it out. It's really good. I mean, the stuff they do and the amount of work they put in is second to none. So I can't. We should have a whole episode just talking about how great they are. I mean, we can go on and on, but yeah, go check that out, please.
But also make sure you check out Turn a Page every
Tuesday night.
Every Tuesday night. Even if you just want to learn, I just love that they're going through comic book runs.
Yes.
I have not been more compelled to pick up a comic book than I was, even though I've read some of that, to go back and read it again. And absolutely was fun. It was informational. It was not a back and forth debate. It was this is what I love. It was a breath of
hanging out
fresh
with
air.
friends. It's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Friends, getting to watch.
It was like a book club. It was literally like a book club.
Yeah, it's really fun. And so it's a home run, and it's going to be really cool as they go through, and people can pick and choose, oh, I wasn't interested in the series, or they'll check it out, or, oh, I've always wanted to talk about this. Secret Invasion it's so funny, and it brought up so many memories. It's been a few years since I read Secret Invasion, and great run by Bendis, and the art is awesome. And so just remembering all those things, the Wasp and all these little details that I'd forgotten. So it's a home run. It's a great show. Ken is the maestro behind it. Tom Craven, who from the hashtag show is great. And then Maddie, again, last but not least, Howard the Duck.
Oh yeah.
If you know, you know. We were doing a little Where's Waldo trying to find it, because and then we really should wrap, but I will say that was cool too. Even if you have read Secret Invasion and you think everything, learning that the artist, who's an amazing, was embedding Howard the Duck secretly in all these major battle scenes. And I'm like, wait, I never knew this. And then, so we were looking, in real time, we're like, oh, and then we're like, we found him. And then, so I think it was Tom or someone else was like, I see him. And so I was able to pull up and zoom in. That's just fun. It's just good, clean fun, and so got to check it out on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. It is a fantastic show. So
absolutely. Yep. So definitely check those things out, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Michael, thank you so much as always. We'll see what guests we're gonna have on. Just to let you guys know, we have reached out to SAG-AFTRA. If a deal hasn't been struck, we may end up having somebody from the union to sit down and talk with us a little bit more. So we are working on that. But if you guys have any suggestions or recommendations, please feel free to shoot their names by. I know we had a couple, which I will be reaching out to in the next couple weeks. But with that said, I'm Tony. This has been Michael, and thank you for joining us for Fandoms.